Not too long ago, maybe about 2 months ago or something, Cara Delevingne was seen in an airport. She was really out of her mind, acting really crazy, looked like she was high on something. Whatever it was obvious. She is now on the cover of Vogue, and I think, my opinion, she's getting into her past and saying why she has these issues because of that event and how it got around the media. A lot of times when someone gets famous and they have to confront their addiction problem because they got caught, basically, they have some kind of story. It wasn't my fault. It was my background, my upbringing, this kind of thing. They never say, well, I got rich, it got out of control, my friends were doing it, and that was that. I learned my lesson. It's always because something in their past forced them to do it. Something in their past made them do it. They get caught acting crazy in an airport or whatever, but it wasn't them. That wasn't actually what it was. It was their horrible past. I'm sure a lot of people do have bad pasts. It's not very uncommon. But my point is, a lot of these people become stars, they become rich, and they have this past, but the normal person doesn't become a star, doesn't become rich. So because of that, I don't have a ton of sympathy. They've made it. They're stars. They're already there. They're in the top 1% of people on the planet as far as what they earn for the work they do. So take some responsibility. But let's see what Cara has to say. Cara Delevingne was not okay. The model and actress opened up in a cover story for Vogue about how childhood trauma caused her to spiral into drugs and alcohol before she managed to get herself clean and sober. Of course, a childhood trauma made her do it. I don't know, man. I just can't totally buy that. I didn't have traumas as a child, I admit, but I would think that things you do and choices you make in your adult life affect it more. It's not like she's in her 20s, she's focusing on being a model, she's making it, she's an actress, and then her childhood comes up somehow and she wants to do this stuff. Could it have been people in the business? Peer pressure? Maybe moving up and getting jobs? Doing some stuff with managers and other celebrities? You want me to believe that she was just this actress and this model, a good person, doing good things, and then her childhood trauma, boom, came in and she had to start doing this stuff again. Doesn't make sense to me. Delevingne, who had a very public fall from grace in 2022, said her trauma comes from spending most of her childhood looking after her bipolar and heroin-addicted mom, Pandora, 63, and many people assumed that her life was easy. No, I'm not going to say her life was easy as a child, but obviously she got over that. She was a model. She was an actress. She got really rich. Obviously, she got over what happened in her childhood. And once she got over it, I don't think it just boomeranged back and said, hey, here I am. Don't forget me, you success. If you've got it together enough to be successful and make it, that means your childhood and all that stuff in it didn't hold you back. That means you messed up on your own right. In a way, a lot of people have looked at my childhood or my family and thought, she's privileged. There's nepotism. She grew up extremely privileged, which I did. Don't get me wrong, said the 30-year-old in Vogue's April cover story released Wednesday, but life wasn't all that easy for other reasons, because life isn't easy for most people, Cara. So why should I think you had a special situation that made you do this because you got caught in an airport acting crazy on something? She said she was introduced to alcohol abuse at 7, she was on sleeping pills at the age of 10, but like I said, if you're saying at 10 years old, this abnormal stuff was going on, and at 7, well, that might have hindered you from making it and making a career. So even though she probably had some connections and things like that, it still takes work to be who she is, to be a model, to be an actress. If things were that bad, she might not have been successful. And they say she had another disorder called Dysrexia. Not sure what that is. Not going to Google it. I'm sure it's not great. It was the beginning of her mental health issues, because she wasn't just having some crazy time doing some stuff and going to an airport. No, that couldn't have been it. It must have been this intricate past. It must have been this real complex past that brought her to that day. Then she said some tough times where, as a teenager, who didn't have tough times as a teenager? Some people, maybe on the football team, cheerleaders, popular kids didn't, okay, but most people did on average, and even the popular ones had pressures and things like that. And then, of course, she blames the pandemic a little bit, the isolation, living with people, implying she didn't get out so much that time. Whose fault was that, by the way? But anyway, once again, that goes for most people. We experience some kind of a lockdown, some kind of a cutoff to our normal schedule of getting around places. She was really alone at that time, she says. It was a low point. All right. It was a low point for everyone, once again. Although, she does admit that because of the pandemic, she got into old habits. So she does somewhat admit recent events played a factor in what she did. But once again, it wasn't her. It was the pandemic. It was the lockdowns. She couldn't read a book. She couldn't play video games. She couldn't write journals. She couldn't exercise. She had to go back into her old habits, right? I don't know. I did a lot of push-ups, made videos, talked with my family on Skype and things like that. It's not that hard to just keep yourself straight. I'm no guru. I'm no hermit in the mountains meditating. Just think about it for a minute. Use common sense. You're stuck in your house. Make the best of it. She cried on some sets for a Hulu movie or something. All right. I mean, I don't think I could feel bad for somebody who's making movies, who's rich and famous, who cries on set. There are other people in the world who cry on their job. There are people with sanitation jobs, cleaning the sewers. I'm sure they're not always very happy on their job. There's people who are prison guards. They're probably uptight and nervous most of the time that something might happen to them. I'm sure they're not happy on their jobs. So I'm sorry. I can't feel bad for people like this crying on the job. If you're sitting there like you're being too hard on her, hacker, she's got feelings too. I know everyone does, but in perspective, in comparison to really difficult jobs, I can't really feel bad for her. I'm not going to read the whole article, word for word, because most of it is just about how she kept going down and down. She was at a Burning Man celebration or something. It was a total low point. If you've seen those are crazy events. People do a lot of drugs, lots of nudity, things like that. Why even go if you think you've got a problem that you might relapse? She said she tried some quick fixes. That never works. Once again, I'm no genius. I'm no life coach, but I could tell you quick fixes usually don't work. Usually, you've got to put effort into solving things. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Do you think Cara had a crazy, terrible past, and that's what made her do this at an airport in 2022? Or do you think she just lost control, hung out with the wrong friends, felt like getting wasted, and went to the airport? If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't subscribe, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. Yeah, I got this cut in my hand. I have my son's Band-Aid on. It's like a cartoon. It's a little weird. We're done here. See you next time.